Hi, everyone. I want to welcome you to this free training call today. And the topic that I'm going to be covering today is how do you fill more of the business that you write? And again, for those of you that don't know me, I've been a trainer in the staffing and recruiting profession for over 25 years. And I like to do these free training calls because I think that we all can do better than what we're currently doing. You know, when I look at the number of job orders and contracts that are being written, and then I look at the percentages that are being filled, it makes me sad because I'm thinking of all the profits and sales that an owner is not basically enjoying, but more so those of you that are working a desk, what is it costing in your lost income? And that's why I think this is a very timely topic. I want you to think of the money you're leaving on the table from all the business that is written but not filled. And just imagine the positive impact on profits and your income if just 50% more contracts, job orders, and temp assignments were successfully filled. Now, do traditional job orders and contracts and assignments attract the best talent? That's a big discussion that everybody's having right now. And so let's start out by reviewing some of the challenges in the talent pool and the skill gap that continues to widen as employment numbers are extremely low. And again, you look at unemployment, and no matter where you are in the country, and unemployment is very low. It's very hard to get this top talent. And so how do you compete? How do you become the company that everybody thinks of when they're looking for a job in your niche? Or how do you become the person that people think about, when they know someone who's looking for a job in the area that you specialize in? And so let's talk about these traditional job orders, contracts, and temp assignments. When you focus on and you post skill-focused job descriptions, okay, the best candidates will not give them a second look. They don't even care about them. If you require pre-interview paperwork, the best candidates are going to opt out. If you focus on filling jobs fast versus understanding the job needs and advancement potential, the best candidates won't consider them and they're going to ghost interviews. And so if people are not filling out your paperwork, if you're not having any luck with your job postings, and if you're getting ghosted, chances are it's because you're still working with the traditional types of job orders, contracts, and temp assignments that used to work, that used to attract the best talent. And what impression do you leave when you don't fill business that's written? I never ever worry about the business that we fill. It's always really concerned me about the business that we write and we don't fill. And why should a company give you additional business if you didn't fill the business that they already gave you? And I want to ask you a very important question because right now I'm going to give you something that's going to change the game. This is a real game changer. The question is, are your clients sharing performance objectives? Performance objective-based job descriptions outline expected results, the goals of the position, and how the candidates your clients hire are going to be evaluated in 6 to 12 months. When you utilize a performance-based requisition, you're assessing every candidate on their ability to effectively execute similar initiatives in the past versus the skills and credentials they list on their resume or CV. See, it's interesting when you ask for 5 performance objectives, and we've been doing this for over 10 years, and it absolutely almost doubled the percentages of the jobs and contracts we were filling. Because when you get 5 objections, you're going to be amazed at the disconnect between the job order, contract, and temp assignment that you wrote to how your candidate's going to be actually be evaluated. What's beautiful about this is people are so used to just giving us this long list of skills. And you and I both know they could give us 10 things that they want. And if we have a candidate that has 8 of them, what do? They screen them out, okay? But when you ask for 5 performance objectives, how are you going to evaluate this person after 6 or 12 months? You're going to end up eliminating many of the skills requested, because you realize they're not even going to be evaluated on half of these things. And when you're writing jobs, break them down into percentages. What percentage of the time are you going to utilize these skill sets? What percentage of the time are they going to be doing things? Because if you're doing some part of the job 10% of the time, that's very different than if that exact same part of the job represents 50% of what they're going to be doing. The other thing you're going to realize is that when they tell you what they're going to judge this person on, how they're going to be evaluated, you might add something to the list of what you need to find, in order for your candidate to get a stellar evaluation. Sometimes clients come back and say they're not working out. Well, they're not working out because they gave you the job order or the contract or temp assignment they used for the last 2 or 3 years. It's never been updated. And so what they really needed is not even listed. And so if you do nothing else as a result of coming to this training, make sure you're asking for performance objectives. And if they hesitate, because they might hesitate to give you performance objectives, you never asked for them before. I want you to ask this question. Would you rather hire someone who is competent and motivated to deliver challenging results, or someone who possesses all the required skills listed on a specific job? And of course, the answer is they want to hire someone who's competent and motivated to deliver results. That's going to make them look good. Our job is to make our hiring authorities look good. Someone who can deliver the results and has all the skills and experience, that they have all the skills and experience they need to hire. They don't need everything that's on these long lists. And the results that they've delivered can determine their skills and abilities. So when you understand what's going to be expected of your candidates, the performance objectives become an essential step in hiring the best person. And what we do is we make sure that everybody agrees with how they're going to be evaluated, because we've had people give us performance objectives and then somebody else in the interviewing process doesn't agree with them. So you have to have everybody sign off on them and share them with your candidate. We recently shared performance objectives with a very high level, a VP level candidate that we were going to send on a job. And when we told her how she was going to be evaluated, she was very upset over two of the ways she's going to be evaluated. She goes, "I'm sorry, I'm a VP. That is beneath what they should be evaluating me on. Like, I don't like that they're evaluating me on this." And I go, "Well, but they're going to evaluate you on these 5 areas, and 2 of them you're not agreeing with." And so I went back to the client and said, "Okay, we've got a very high level candidate, great person, can do the job, but she felt that this is beneath her to be evaluated on this." And they came back and said, "Too bad. Those 2 areas are important." So she's going to be evaluated on those 2 areas. So we pulled the candidate. Now, you might say, "Well, didn't that hurt your chances of making a placement?" It did, but the person was going to fall off because they don't want to be evaluated on that, or they were going to fire her because she didn't want them to look at those 2 parts of the job. And so again, you share this with everybody that's hiring, and you share it with the people that you're sending, because now they know exactly what's expected of them, and so they become engaged and retained. It basically eliminates fall-offs. It eliminates no-shows. It eliminates so many of the problem areas you're currently experiencing. It's not unreasonable to have a candidate go to lunch one day and just not come back and not call you, not call the company, just leave, because they determine this is not the job that they want. If you don't only want to fill jobs, you want to fill them with people that are going to love their job and stay, because that's what makes you look good. Now, do you expect to fill 100% of the business you write? Because it's interesting, when I talk to people, most account executives and most people that are doing sales and client development only expect to fill maybe a third of what they write. And we got to stop that. You got to absolutely expect to fill all of the business you write. If you're writing business that you know is mission impossible, it's hurting you, it's hurting your company, it's hurting our reputation as a profession. There's a tremendous difference between writing business and writing fillable business. So I want you to review all your current job orders, your contracts, your assignments, and qualify which ones are fillable. And then provide parameters which must be met to submit business to your recruiting team. Why are you wasting your recruiters' time? They only make money if they fill the business you write. You shouldn't give them business that's impossible, because you're hurting them as well if your office has it split between sales and recruiting. So let me give you 7 elements of fillable business. Number 1, you've got a detailed job order, contract, or temp assignment with percentages. If the hiring authority does not provide you with details up front, you're not going to be able to make an appropriate match. It's as simple as that. Now, when you're asking for this, you're always showing them the what's in it for them. How do they benefit by giving you a detailed job description? And you have to have a clear understanding of the job, and the people that are going to recruit on this job absolutely have to have an understanding, or they cannot present candidates that are going to be hired. Number 2, and I just touched on this, you've got to get 5 performance objectives. That is a game changer. That will change everything for you. Number 3, get a target date to fill in 3 interviewing times, and the name of a backup person that can confirm interviews. How many times have you written business, you go to try to book interviews, and your client has disappeared off the face of the earth, and then you lose the candidates? When you get 3 interviewing times up front, and you've got to show the candidates why it's good for them to agree to an interviewing time, and show your clients why you have to get 3 interviewing times. Because when you get these people on the phone, you represent the best out there. You want to tie them up now. And then if you go to call and the person's not available, you just talk to the backup. Do you know what's beautiful about getting a backup? They don't ask you any questions about the candidate. You just say, I've got the 3 interviewing times. I want to give you the names of the people we're sending. And you start booking 100% of the people that you recruit. Number 4, send a copy of your job order, contract, or assignment to everybody in the interviewing process, including the performance objectives, so everybody's on the same page. Rapport is established as trust is earned. And it's so much easier to experience success if everybody's on the same page. Plus, if your contact leaves, all these other people know that they've been using you to find talent because your name is on there, your company name is on there. You know, you're getting your name in front of other people. You've got to know that the salary or the pay rate is commensurate with experience. If you write a piece of business and you walk away and say, we're never going to fill this, they want 10 years of experience and they're paying money that we would pay a recent grad, then shame on you. Why don't you tell them that? Because if you took the business, they expect you to fill it. And now you've set yourself up for failure and you make us all look bad because their expectation is that you're going to fill it. No, you have to say, you know, I'm looking at this, and as much as I would love to work with you, I have 2 questions for you. Number 1, can we increase the pay rate or the salary? Or number 2, can we decrease the experience? Because at this level of experience, the pay rate and the salary is not competitive. We will not be able to present any candidates. And I don't want to pretend that I can do this. So can we lower the experience or increase the pay rate? Almost always they lower the experience, but you've got to fill a piece of business right now. You've got to set up expectations. You know, give them a printed list of this is what you can expect from me, and this is what I need from you to fill the jobs, fill the business that you give us, okay? And then I want to have an update every Friday. I'm going to call you. I want to talk to you. I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on, because this is when often they will change the specs when they realize you're not able to surface talent because you're sharing what's actually happening. The other thing that this prevents you from doing is writing crappy business. Because if you know you've got to call somebody every Friday and give them an update, and you know you can't surface the talent for the business, you're going to stop writing crappy business. You're going to tell them why you can't fill the business. You're going to walk away from business you shouldn't write. And number 7, you want to set up a time to make the first recruiting presentation to your client. This is both direct and contract. Temporary, no, because often you just have the person. If you're doing a high volume, fast paced temp, there is no time. Half the time you just have people show up. If they work out, you get paid. If they don't, they leave the job. But if there's an interviewing process, you want to do the first recruiting presentation to your client. And if you're only working sales or client development and someone else is doing recruiting, you want one of your recruiters to do their first recruiting presentation to your client. The reason is the business you write should be part of the marketing collateral of the companies you're representing, and excite your candidates not only about the job, but working for this client. It's also important that you talk about like personal and professional growth and the career path they're going to have. But too often your recruiters are practicing during the first 5 or 6 recruiting calls they're making. No, let them do the first recruiting presentation to your client. And guess what? The client always adjusts it. Well, why don't you also say this? Or why don't you also talk about this? And they're going to help your recruiters make a better call. And they're going to give your recruiters information they didn't give you, almost always. And this really makes your recruiter prepare, because they realize they're doing their first recruiting presentation to your client. And so they're going to ask you a lot more questions about the job. And I feel it's so important you become friends with your clients, because if you become friends with them, you understand what they're trying to do. Everything you're doing for them, they realize you're trying to help them. You should be their sounding board. You should be their sounding board. You should be the person they trust most, that they can trust to tell you anything. You know, again, you know, candidates, you don't necessarily want to become their friends. Clients, you want to start out as a vendor, become a trusted advisor, a consultant, and then you want to be their friend because they'll take you wherever they go. Another thing I want to mention is following up and nurturing, because this is where we suck, okay? This prevents clients from feeling they're only a source of revenue. You know, this is where we drop the ball. Oh, I love that my team put a Chicago Bear dropping the ball. Come on. They always tease me because I'm a Chicago Bear fan, and I can't believe they did this on the PowerPoint. This was done to irritate me, so I just love my team. But anyway, yeah, this is where we drop the ball. And yes, the Chicago Bears do drop a lot of balls. But I want you to realize that your clients feel they're only a source of revenue. They don't feel that you care about them. They feel like they're a source of revenue. And unless you follow up with them, unless you nurture them, unless you do some of the things I've just taught you, they're going to feel that they feel we're all alike. I hear that all the time. 50% of my speaking is to your end users. I don't know if all of you know that. I speak at roughly 25 to 30 conventions a year, and over half of them are CEO conferences, manufacturing companies. In May, I'm speaking to a conference for engineering, architectural, and construction companies. And so I'm trying to speak a lot to your end users. I go to technology conferences and speak because I'm trying to show them why they should use us. And what I hear from them all the time is we're just a source of revenue. That's all we are, Barb. They don't care about us. They care about the commission. Do they ever call and say, did our person work out? Do they ever call and get my feedback? And I go, no, but we want to be your trusted advisor. We want to be your sounding board. They go, you got to be kidding me. The only time you people talk to us is when you're making money on us. So I got to ask you, is the only time you talk to your clients when you're making money on them? Because if that's the case, then they are a source of revenue for you. Do you know things about them? Do you know, the age? Do you know if they have children that are graduating this year? Do you know if they've got kids in college? Do you know what sports teams they like? Because, with the Chicago Bears, we're all talking about that Justin Fields just got traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I also have some clients that are Pittsburgh Steeler fans, and they're thrilled. So when I'm calling people, I'm talking about football first to all the football fans out there. But my basketball fans, all they care about is the brackets. The brackets are coming out. And, again, which one of your clients are basketball fans? And who do they have? Who do they have as their Final Four? People would rather talk about anything than what you and I want to talk about when we're on the phone with our clients. They'd rather talk about anything first. And if you talk about what they want to talk about, their kids, the sports teams, what's going on in their life, then you'll get back to talking about what you want to talk about. But I am telling you, this is where we drop the ball big time. You want to fill more business that's written, follow all the things I told you to do. But once you fill the business, then you really have to follow up and nurture. You got to know everything about them. You don't have to love your clients. I've got a couple clients, quite frankly, I don't like at all, but they love me. And that's all that's important. They have to love you. They have to always feel like a priority. Business is hard to get right now. And a lot of you are losing clients because they don't feel like a priority anymore. You've got to start teaching people. I always say, never marry, always date your clients. And for those of you that are married, you know what I'm talking about. When you're dating, there's cards and flowers and date night, and you're impressing each other. When you get married, all of a sudden everything else hits, bills and kids and pressure and all that type of thing. You've always got to date your clients. I guarantee if you implement the ideas shared, you're going to fill more of the business you write, and you're all going to make more money. I train so you can make more money. That's why I train. Now, if you would like to learn more about how to fill more of your job orders, contract, temp assignments, and increase your profits, that's what we do. We provide training, and I want you to imagine the benefit of comprehensive training that's updated weekly. Things are changing so fast. What worked 3 months ago is not working today, either with marketing or recruiting. Would you like to have a live weekly webinar like this every single week where you can ask me questions? Would you like to have a coaching call where you can learn from the questions that other people are asking me as well as the questions you ask? I have a library that I give people access to that has 250 webinars that I've done on all hot topics. So no matter what you want to learn, you could click on and listen to a webinar. And we also recommend free resources that you and your team can use. And also, I asked my friend Judy Collins to be on this call with me because originally we were going to do this kind of as a team call. And Judy is a phenomenal resource. And if I've got any owners on this call and you're thinking about going into the temp or contract business, the businesses that are making the most money right now are blended businesses where you offer direct and contractor temp. And so if you're just stuck and you want some advice from someone, and she's a free resource that can give you advice. I told her she needs to start setting up a consulting company because she helps everybody she knows. But I'm going to give you Judy's email address. I want you to get out a pen right now, and I want you to write this down, okay? Because this is my gift to you today. Judy Collins is my gift to you. Judy's email is Judy at, and it's JCSR. So Judy Collins, 7 red. So JCSR, and that really stands for Judy Collins Staffing Resources, LLC.com. And so if any of you have any questions about, say you're sitting there going, we want to fill business, but we also want to write more business. We need to look at temp or contract. You don't know what to do. Judy is just a great resource to give you some information. And like I said, if you send her an email at judy@jcsrllc.com, she'll just talk to you and she'll let you know what to do, because that's what she's done for many, many years. If you're interested in training, set up a call today with one of my experts to discuss your objectives. Once we know your objectives, okay, then we know exactly what to do for you. Our top producer tutor is delivered online, includes videos, it's self-paced, and it holds participants accountable. And so if you're at all interested in talking about this, or I do customized webinars, I do consulting, I speak at events. If you want me to speak to your end users. In fact, it was funny, I had a staffing and recruiting company that just brought me in to train their people, and they asked me if I would do an evening Ask Barb and just what's going on in the job market for all of their clients. They had 35 clients come, and I was supposed to speak for 30 minutes. They did a cocktail party, and their clients, I did a little presentation on current realities, and then they were supposed to ask me questions. It went almost 90 minutes. They ended up bringing pizzas in because everybody wanted to stay, so there's all kinds of things I could do for you and your company. But again, these calls, we focus 100% on your priorities. And so, if you click on that QR code, you can set up a call with one of our experts, or you can call that number if you have any training needs. But what I want to do right now is I want to take any questions you have. Are there any questions? And your questions can be about anything. They don't have to be about filling 100% of the jobs. Whenever I do a live call, I want every one of you leaving this call saying, boy, that was worth my time. That 30 minutes was worth my time. I got my questions answered. And you can ask me questions about anything, any topic at all, as long as it's staffing and recruiting. I mean, I'm not going to talk about, other topics, as long as it has anything to do with staffing and recruiting. When you called in, I gave you a telephone number, an access code, and a PIN number. If you put all three numbers in, look at the control panel on the right, and you see the word attendee. If you click on that, okay, it's gonna open a list of names. You're gonna see your name, and above your name is a little, it looks like a hand being raised. If you click on that hand, I can unmute you and I can talk. I'm willing to role play. I'm willing to do anything that would help you, okay? If you'd rather not talk to me one-on-one, you'd rather type in a question, a confidential question, go to the bottom of the control panel and you see the word questions. And if you click on that, it opens what looks like a Word doc. Just type in a question. If you don't want me to use your name, I always only use first names. If you don't want me to use your name, then just put confidential or anonymous before you type in a question. Okay, I have somebody asking, what percentage of job orders and contracts does your organization fill? We're roughly at 87% right now. We fill 87% of what we write. And that's both on the contract and direct hire side. So we're almost, our goal was to get to 90 this year, but we haven't quite done it. We're, so far, that's year to date. That's from January of this year to the current time. We're filling roughly 87% of what we're writing. But again, we're not taking business that we know is mission impossible, because I just think it hurts everybody. It just hurts everybody. Okay, this is from Frank. Barb, we're a VMS. We write all kinds of crappy business, and it wastes all of our time. But many of our best clients are VMS clients. What do we do? What I would say is you do revenue modeling, Frank. I would suggest all of you do this. Go back and study the placements and fills you've made in the last 18 months to 2 years. What business are you filling? And I'm going to give you an example. I had a consulting client that was only filling. It was ridiculous. It was under 10% of the jobs they were writing. And he had tried to get above 10 million for 7 years and couldn't do it. And he hired me as a consultant because he was trying to get to 20 million in his business. And just so you know, right now he's at 47 million. I meet with him all the time. But one of the first things I asked him were, how many titles do you place? And they did a lot of temporary, and he said, well, we've got 59 titles that we work on. And I go, no, how many do you fill? And he goes, 59. I go, you're not filling 59 titles if you're only at $10 million. You're not filling 59 titles. And I said, where are you making your money? Well, and I said, I'll bet you an hour free consulting that most of your business is coming from less than 10 clients. He goes, you're wrong. Well, 3 or 4 days later, he called me and he goes, you're not going to believe this. And I go, but I will. And he said, Barb, 71% of our business is 6 job titles. 71% of our business is 6 job titles. And I go, well, then what percentage of those 6 titles are you filling? And he goes, 100%. It's 71% of my business. And I go, no, you're not. because you're working 59 titles. Your recruiters are all over the place. Get them to pipeline those 6 titles. On the VMS, have one recruiter that's just, sending resumes in so you keep your report card up, and your report with the VMS clients. But when you write the 6 titles with them, fill all of them. And he came back and he goes, we're only filling 21% of the 6 titles. And I go, well, you don't need me anymore because there's your extra 10 million. 71% of your revenue is 6 titles. You're only filling 21%. But we redid his website. We redid the marketing materials. We changed the focus of the sales team. We changed what the recruiters were pipelining. And he basically got over $20 million, 18 months from when we started this excursion. So look at what you're filling. What business are you filling? That's the business you want to write. And I think people are writing way too many titles. You write purple squirrels. And then when you if you're going to write something, I want you to market candidates where you can write 2 other orders or contracts or something that are like that. So you can send people on multiple jobs. You can't do it when you write purple squirrels. Now, if you're working retained search, God bless you, you can do this. But if you're working contingency, now you've got all these candidates you've surfaced and they're calling you for other jobs and you only wrote the one job way out of your niche or one purple scroll job, and now you're wasting your time with all these people that are calling you have nothing for. If you write a title, you've got to tell yourself, I'm going to write several jobs with this title. That's how you know. Put your focus where you can make money and do revenue modeling. And again, we teach revenue modeling on both the candidate and client side in our tutors and that. And, again, we can help you increase your profits. There's not a doubt in my mind. And do you owe it to yourself to at least have a conversation with us? Even the conversation with us is going to make you more money. And so please, either click on the QR code or call us. I have somebody else asking me again for Judy's email address. Hold on, I wrote it on a different sheet of paper. Judy's email address, if you want some free advice about how to get into the temp and contract businesses, Judy, Judy, at Judy Collins Staffing Resources, JCSRLLC.com. Judy, Judy, at JCSRLLC.com. Let me see if there's any other questions. Even nobody's raising their hand. And this is free consulting, you guys. Anybody can raise their hand and ask me a question. I'm really very friendly. This is from Cynthia. Does your training include how to overcome objections? Because we're getting new ones every day and don't know how to overcome them. I can tell you there's only one objection you can't overcome, and that's silence. And if they hang up the phone, you can always call back and say, I'm sorry, I can't believe I disconnected our call. And usually they'll talk to you. But yes, it does. We give you the top 10 objections for both recruiting and sales for direct hire, for contract, and for temporary staffing, because they're different. You get different objections from clients. And have the clients learned the 2 or 3 objections that stop most salespeople dead in their tracks? They have. Have candidates learn what to say to you? Because again, they call us you people. They think we're all alike. You've got to know, why should someone use you as opposed to other people in your office or anyone else? That's your brand. Your brand is your track record of success. Very early in your conversation, you've got to sound different. Stop pitching jobs. Stop pitching your services. Identify the problems your clients are having. Identify the priorities of your candidates, and then talk about what you offer. But you've got to find out what's important to them. Sometimes we just sell too fast. We sell too fast. You notice I didn't do any selling to you to the end of my presentation because I wanted all of you to leave here with ideas you can implement that are going to make you money. All right, I see no more questions. Let me go down below and see if anybody typed in another question. I don't see any. I am going to send all of you a recording of this call, so you will have a recording of this call, after this is done. So give us a couple days, we'll get you the recording in case you missed something. But I would love nothing more than to be able to mentor you and coach you and work one-on-one with you, or the people that work for you. So, please reach out to us. Have a great day, everybody. We're at the end of the first quarter. Hopefully you've had a record-breaking first quarter. And right now you're setting up the second quarter. I mean, March is almost over. And if you did not reach your goals in March, this is my hint to you. If you did not reach goals in March, there's something very important you have to do. Take what you said you were going to do, and then take what you actually produced and subtract what you actually produced from what you plan to produce, okay? And whatever that money is, say that you're $9,000 short. I'm going to make it easy on myself. That you're $9,000 less in production than you thought you would be. There's 9 months left in the year. And so at the end of March, whatever you didn't produce, you're going to divide it by 9, and you're going to add it to the remaining months of the year, because there's no reason this year why you can't hit your goals. There is no reason. You can't do things the same way and expect different results. Try new things. There should be a lump in your throat and a knot in your stomach at least once a week. At least once a week. You should feel uncomfortable about what you're doing. If you don't, you're not learning. You're doing things the same way. And if you don't like your year-to-date income, you don't like your results, you got to change something. Doing things the same way and expecting different results is a definition of insanity. And so I want I don't care if you name the lump in your throat or the knot in your stomach, Barb Bruno, when you try to implement some of the things I've shared with you today. You want to make yourself uncomfortable. That shows you're learning and trying new things. And that's very important to your success. You don't want to sabotage your own success by living in your comfort zone. That's not where you're going to become more successful. So thanks for joining me, everybody. I'm glad that all of you were here. Judy, thank you for joining me. And again, she's kind of a free resource right now that can really help any owner that is looking to get into the temp and contract business. And I don't know anybody that knows more than Judy. So when it comes to that business. So thanks for joining me, everybody. And here's to a record second quarter for all of you. Have a great day.